Thank you, John.
You're welcome. Welcome.
Good to see you.
All right, so let's have a little tough chat,
Let's
Dr.
have a
G.
chat.
So I've got my notes here. Do you want to say a few opening words?
You know, I just see everybody here is looking for how GNS has changed and what does the future bring. And to me, the most exciting time, we are born, every one of us, in the most exciting time in human history. You may not be aware of the fact that everything you know is changing. From artificial intelligence that's touching every part of your lives to being able to look at your genetics and your genes from at home with a couple of drops of blood. But this morning we're going to talk about how that's all going to impact genetics, the product development, and frankly, how we're already there in many instances. So let's take a look at it. I think you have a couple questions. You told me you had.
Yeah, let me go ahead and ask you the first question I've got here. So, how did you get interested in the aging process, and what information stimulated you to create products?
So if we take a look here, okay, I started to look at 20 years ago. Oh, let me go back one. Let me go back one. Okay, there should be a video. I'm not sure why the video's not running, but I'll go ahead. So bottom line is, I wanted to know, why do certain animals live so much longer than human beings? I don't know if you know this, but for instance, the bowhead whale lives over 200 years. It's a mammal. Okay. Sharks, particularly the Greenland shark, lives 700 years. Okay. The Galapagos turtle lives over 200. Parrots live over 95 to 100 years. Why do human beings live only 75, 80 years? So over the course of my initial research, I started to look into what were the common factors that each one of these animals had and let them live so long. So what I found out was something very interesting. These animals have the ability to repair their DNA much more efficiently than we do, which is why we're working on DNA repair products for all of you. These animals have the ability to make their own antioxidants. Okay, vitamin C, for instance, human beings cannot make vitamin C in their bodies. That gene has been turned off. So we have to get vitamin C from our diet and from what we ingest. But that helps quench these free radicals. The big thing is, all these animals that live longer actually have greater numbers of stem cells, and some of them can make their own stem cells. So we started to look at this. Oh, by the way, most of these animals don't get cancer. Okay? There's never been a shark that's been caught that's had cancer. There's reasons, now we know the reason behind that. So when you start to put all these things together, you saw yesterday the whole concept of one of our new main ingredients, AC11, which is the only compound that can repair DNA damage. Okay? We have reserve, which has very high levels of antioxidants. Okay? So we're starting to put together the products that are mimicking what these animals can live long. We know work in situations where animals live exceptionally healthy, longer lives. So that's really how we got started. And frankly, at our stem cell center, the Regenerative Medicine Institute in Costa Rica, I'll show you how we actually fix and enhance our stem cells in one of these slides. So that's how I got started.
Was there a video that you wanted to roll?
Do we have that video? Yeah.
Can I get a thumbs up in the back if we've got that video queued up and ready to roll, or we can move on?
Yeah.
All right, I don't see a hand up.
So this is a video. So
here we go.
What is the secret about aging is damage to our DNA is the main cause of aging in general. Okay? But the real issue is today is, you know, when doctors treat us, they don't treat the cause of aging. Okay? But today we have the knowledge and information not only to repair DNA, but to do many other things to keep us healthy. Physicians today treat symptoms and those of aging. So what we notice is as we get older, we not only get diseases, we lose our function, but the whole secret here is it's damage to the DNA that causes our stem cells, which are the regenerative potential in our body, to stop working, which is why we don't stay healthy.
So let me ask you this. What is the origin of the aging process?
Yeah, well, the origin of the aging process really starts with damage to our DNA. And with each break of the DNA inside our cells, our body cells begin to function much less optimally. And over time, it leads to exactly what you see on the picture here. You end up in the hospital due to illness or sickness. So over the last decade or two, we've learned the secret is that the origin of aging, the damage to our DNA, creates problems or decreases the function in our stem cells, and we start to lose the ability to regenerate and restore our tissues and stay healthy. So let's go to the next thing. On this slide, you're going to see the following. That red line shows stem cells. We're all born with a fixed number of stem cells, but when we hit about age 40, you see the drop in the stem cells. You see what happens? We lose not only stem cell numbers and function, at the same time, this yellow line, we start to accumulate these things called senescent or age-accelerating cells. So when those two curves meet, we age very, very quickly. We start to lose our function, and what you're seeing here is basically the cause of why we lose all of our ideal function and health at about the late 50s and early 60s. So it's a combination of these two things that create what we all experience as the aging process.
Well, that's very informative. Thank you. This graph is very intriguing and explains a lot. So tell me, how does this DNA damage affect our stem cells over time?
Okay, well, this is another thing. Now keep in mind, we have a product, we have Vita Blue. Now what Vita Blue does, it helps maintain our stem cell numbers so that this drop in that curve doesn't happen as quickly. We have AM, PM in reserve, which both have compounds that help stop making these senescent cells. So this is really cutting-edge science. We're actually working at Genesis with products with the latest science and technology that lets us now know how we age, right? So let's go on to the next thing. So we're all born with a fixed number of stem cells. So to go from a young baby to an adult, we use up the vast majority of our stem cells. 60% of them are gone. Okay, but we have optimal amounts of stem cells at 18 to 30, maybe even to 40, where we have optimal health, mental function, our immune system's working unbelievably well. But unfortunately, that's for a short period of time. At about 80, we start to notice changes in how our body is working and feeling, at about 30. And what happens at 60, we start to see the change in our body, our loss of muscle mass, and we really start to feel the effects of aging. Now, the thing is this, the faster we use up our stem cells, the quicker we age and we lose our function. And things like, for instance, a trauma. If you have an accident, a car accident, or you get sick, you use up your stem cells quicker. Any illness causes that. Bad lifestyle. If you're not exercising, you're smoking, you're eating a poor diet, you use up your stem cells quicker. Or you live in a toxic environment, you use up your stem cells quicker. Now, I like to use the analogy of this. Think of your bodies as a fine-tuned automobile. You're all Ferraris, okay? But you're born with one tank of gas, and you don't even have a gas cap. The quicker you drive that machine, and the less attention you pay to maintenance, the quicker that machine is going to stop. Today, we have a way of actually creating a gas cap and restoring and giving you back stem cells so that you can live longer. But the first step here at Jeunesse is to use products that actually help release more stem cells so that they, and maintain the function of your stem cells.
So how are stem cells involved in the aging process?
Okay. You know, let's take a look at that. So stem cells basically, I'll go back one minute. Stem cells are all basically found in our bones, inside our bones, the bone marrow. And there's three major types of stem cells, right? There's stem cells that boost your immune function and keep you from getting sick, cancer, or even fight off viruses. There's stem cells that help grow new blood vessels. And if you have older, you're an older person, they restore your blood vessels. And the third type of stem cells are the ones that can turn into muscle, bone, cartilage, even brain tissue. Those are mesenchymal stem cells. So the secret is we have those three types of stem cells in our bodies. And if we don't take care of our bodies, we don't have the right supplements to keep those cells from working optimally, you lose them quicker. Now again, we talked about AMPM yesterday. AMPM has ingredients in it to help both stem cells and body cells function longer and more efficiently. Reserve helps stem cells avoid damage to their DNA. Vita Blue helps us release some of those stem cells so the body has a greater number of those stem cells. So already you're starting to see that Jeunesse, despite the fact of knowing about this information, because it was very, very new information, my job was to try to create products that would help with the latest information that we have. And that's what we've been doing, but the future is going to be a lot more exciting.
All right, so here's a question I think that we're all wondering. Are there ways that we can actually measure the aging process ourselves?
How many of you have an Apple Watch? How many of you have an Oura Ring? Oh, you don't know about that. So today, the advances in technology are amazing. They allow us to look at how you're aging and your personal information on a minute-by-minute basis. For instance, okay, today, we can look with 5 drops of blood, we can look at 900,000 points on your personal genome. Every one of you have an individual with 5 drops of blood. It'll tell us how long your telomeres are, how quickly you're aging at the moment, what your immune function is, how quickly your skin is aging. This is technology that wasn't here 24 months ago. Now we can do that from home. The Oura Ring, which most people have in the States, allows us to look at how much sleep you get, your deep sleep, which is directly related to your immune function, your REM sleep, your activity levels, your oxygen levels, and more. And that's 24/7 that goes to your ring. For instance, if we want to look at your hormonal levels, your neurotransmitters, or with a couple extra drops of blood, we can take a look at all of that from home and even look at how you're aging at the very moment with an extra drop of blood. So today, the technology is allowing us to get feedback on not only how you're aging, but are the supplements you're taking, are they working? And even the data will actually help us help you decide what you need from a supplement, which supplements you should be taking to stay healthier. So the future is going to allow us to literally personalize what your needs are from a supplement and nutritional point of view. And right now, the executive team and myself are working on something that would be an exclusive for Jeunesse to be able to do most of this from your home.
I like the sound of that. Exclusive and proprietary to Jeunesse. Dr. G keeping us on the cutting edge at the forefront of innovation. Dr. G, is there a blueprint, so to say that each one of us, is there a blueprint that each one of us has to measure key functions of our cells that create this blueprint?
Yeah, well, again, these are things that are what I've been working on for the last, I would say, at least 5 or 6 years. So today, we're able to create a blueprint for each one of us, that actually allows us to know what is the whole aging process doing. And I will tell you something, it's not that complicated now because of the advances in technology. But let me get into this longer. A blueprint is consistent, our blueprints that we use at the medical clinical level now have to do with three major pieces of information. Telomeres, okay? So we all know what telomeres are because we know what Finity, our product Finity actually helps maintain the length of those telomeres. So a telomere is in each one of the cells, and every time that cell divides, it shortens. When it shortens to a certain point, the cell doesn't divide anymore. And the more cell divisions we have, the healthier we stay. So we look at telomeres. We look at the amount of DNA damage, because the amount of DNA damage is going to cause telomere shortening, and it's going to cause our stem cells to decrease. So we can take a peek at that from home. And lastly, and the newest piece of information is, each one of the 50 trillion cells inside your body, now you have 50 trillion cells. You have DNA. Now there's in the amount of DNA in one cell, if we were to unwind it, is long enough to go from the Earth to the Moon and back again 6 times. Try to imagine how much DNA is packed into one cell. And all of that contains information. So we can look at the activity of your DNA, the genes in your DNA, and know what genes are turned on and off. And there's 30,000 genes in each one of those cells. We can look at 900,000 points of what genes are active in your cell today from a home test kit. So this is how we make up a blueprint. Telomere, the longer your telomeres are, the more times your cells can reproduce themselves, and the longer you can stay healthy. The less DNA damage you have, the longer you stay healthy. The more stem cells can function, and the more accurate they can function. And we can now look at your gene activity. It's a speedometer on how quickly you're aging. We can do all of that from your home now. Now, we're doing everything we can to bring this to be able to do this for the last volume, but we've been doing this for the last 5 years already in our key clinics. But this is most of this is soon to become something that we can use to see how our products are working. Are they really working? Is my aging slowing down? Do I need Finity? Do I need something to help my telomeres? Do I take, for instance, more reserve because my DNA damaged? This is all going to turn to a much higher level of science and credibility. And my goal is to make sure Juness has this first and nobody else in our industry can touch us. That's my goal.
That's awesome. So these are the key biomarkers that we look at to decide how we are aging.
Exactly.
Exciting.
Yeah.
So what is the final result we can get from these tests, and what does this mean?
The final result. Okay, so let's take a look at this. But let me give you. Oh, I'm sorry. You go back here. So the final result is this. What's really important is this: is looking at what is our genetic age and how does that compare to our body's age. So here's an example. Okay, here's somebody who's actually 55 years of age, right? Now, when we looked at this little home test kit, their genes come back at a 47-year-old. That person is aging slower than their actual body is, okay? 8 years slower. That is great. Now, why is that important? The magic number is you're aging 7 years slower. Your chances of dying in the next 7 years are 56% less, and 56% less that you're going to get age-related diseases in the next decade. So this gives us a marker on how long your health span is going to be, how long your function is going to maintain more optimal. On the other hand, if it's 7 years greater, which I will tell you, looking at the testing we've done on people, 90% of people are 5 to 7 years older at the genetic level. So their aging is accelerated. But within 4 months, on the right supplements and therapy, we can bring them back to below that. So this information is so important, and this is why this information is going to make a dramatic difference in what supplements we take, how much of them we take, and now we'll have feedback to show that things are actually working.
Fantastic. So what can be done to restore your stem cell numbers and function as you age?
So this is something, let's take a look at this gentleman. This gentleman is at our clinic in Costa Rica, which is now the largest regenerative medicine institute in the world. He's getting stem cells collected. I've had mine collected. My wife has her collected. As you saw in that graph, at age 40, you start to lose your stem cell numbers and function. It doesn't happen to me, it doesn't happen to my wife, because we got collected 8 years ago. And every year, we get about 100 million of those cells replaced. They float, and so this new technology is something that's going to revolutionize health span and wellness, because just getting back your collected stem cells is one of the major ways to avoid getting sick or age-related diseases. And if you couple that with the supplements, which work on a daily basis, this will be the future of preventive medicine.
Super exciting. All right, one last question I have for you. What do the advances in the future hold for all of us who are in the anti-aging field?
Well, I'm going to put myself out on a limb, and I'm going to say right now that everyone in this room should be saving a lot of extra money, because you're going to be you have the potential to live dramatically longer than what you think is the normal situation. Let me give you an idea of what's going on in the world of anti-aging and the science research. Today, every 3 months, the information we have about the science and technology of aging doubles every 3 months. Doubles every 3 months. 3 years from now, we are going to have 6,000 times more information on how to stay younger and healthier. Now, that's hard to comprehend, but we'll have 6,000 times more information about new supplements, new treatments, okay? And this is something that's going to be absolutely amazing. So, for instance, let me tell you, in 2016, my research team and I at Rutgers took 80-year-old stem cells and turned them back into 30-year-old stem cells. We gave them back to 10 people in 2016 who were in their 60s and 70s. They're in their 80s and 90s, and they are healthier now than they were in 2016. Now, that was the first research. Today, we are taking that technology to a whole new level, and we started a research project where we have oral components that can do the same thing that we had to do to take the cells out and incubate them for 2 weeks. So the future in what we call cellular reprogramming and turning your older damaged stem cells back into young stem cells are one of the key things that will become a reality at the medical level in the next few years. So that is just one of the things. The other things that we knew, we saw these senescent cells. We now have oral compounds that can start to remove those senescent cells. Those alone help people stay healthier longer. So from the reprogramming to removing these senescent cells to a number of other things that are going to become medically available, it's a whole new world. So that's one big thing. Now, AI, we're all familiar with AI has entered every one of our lives, from the chat bots to all of the things that we look at on our iPhones. where you get your bot to help answer a question. It's not a human anymore, but here's the real thing. This is AI. Advanced AI is already here. So what does that mean for the anti-aging world? It's simple. In the next 2 to 5 years, the AI software programs will literally be equal to the smartest human being on the planet who knows more about cellular aging genetics than anyone ever knows. This will be in a software program. We will be able to go to a software program and have it run the research that today takes us a year, 2 or 3, and costs us millions of dollars to get the answers we're looking for, and be able to get those answers in 2 minutes.
Wow.
At a cost of maybe $3. So what you're seeing now is a logarithmic explosion in our industry. And it's not just about the super advanced technologies. It's looking at natural compounds that may become new products. It's looking at topical things that completely regenerate the skin. I'm working with one company right now who's isolated one factor that when they put on the human skin, it increases collagen 1,000%. It's not even, and it's just at the lab testing stage. But part of my job in the Science Advisory Board job is to look at all these advances and get them to us first before they get to the marketplace.
Well, thank you, Dr. G, for keeping us at the forefront of innovation. I know I feel privileged that you are heading up our science, our research, our innovation. Thank you for your knowledge and for pouring all of this information into all of us. And yeah, let's clap it up for Dr. Giampapa, everybody. Thank you so much.
I'll just say one more thing. This is just a peek at what's happening, and it's going to get a lot better. So let's all work and do everything we can and to support the company. And I will tell you something, you will be very, very surprised and excited about what you see, feel, and experience within the year.
Well, we're not resting on our laurels. We aren't sitting back and waiting and watching. The future is truly now. Thank you, Dr. G.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, great scientific leader, Dr. Giampapa. Thank you so much. And thank you for second host. We have Mr. Razor help us to clarify all the things and help